Hello and welcome. This article is titled Meet the Workers Who Could Organize the Only Whole Foods Union. I will leave the link in the description below if you would like to read it yourself without my commentary. The article continues, we spoke to the Philadelphia workers who could reverse Amazon's union busting playbook. It was published December 4th, 2024. And the article begins. Just 3 years ago, a unionized Amazon workforce seemed unthinkable. The company had been busting organizing drives for more than 2 decades, including a high-profile campaign in 2021 in Bessemer, Alabama. That still hasn't been resolved. Today, thousands of Amazon warehouse workers and drivers are unionized or in the process of organizing, and their counterparts at Amazon-owned Whole Foods are now on their way as well. On November 22nd, workers in Philadelphia announced their intent to organize the first union at Whole Foods in decades. The organic supermarket chain, which was bought by Amazon in 2017, has hundreds of U.S. locations. The 300 employees at a Whole Foods store in Center City have filed to join United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW, and are awaiting a date for their election from the National Labor Relations Board. Quote, it is becoming impossible to balance our health, our safety, and our desire to satisfy and delight our customers with the company's thirst for profits, end quote, the unionizing workers said in a statement. Quote, by forming our union, we aim to be a beacon of hope for every Whole Foods and Amazon worker all around the world. We can and will fight for what we deserve. Fair pay, better working conditions, and a voice for all, end quote. Really well said. Really good wording. And guys, I try not to be political on my channel. But if you understand the history of labor in the U.S. and in other countries, there used to be long work days. There used to be days without breaks. There used to be days without lunches. Okay? There used to be a 7-day work week. We today, for the most part, have a 5-day work week. Although for a lot of people, the 5-day work week isn't enough to survive. So they have to work second and third jobs in 2024. So there was a sweet spot in the labor force of this country, and it was around the 1980s and the 1990s. That's the last time, guys. That was a long time ago, okay? 40 years ago, guys. It was the sweet spot, and by that I mean you worked and you had time and money to enjoy your life, even though you worked. Okay? Money went further. What you were paid went further. You could own your own house with one job. Okay? That was the sweet spot. The 1980s and a little bit of the 1990s. That's it. Since then, guys, it has become increasingly difficult for the average U.S. American to afford to live. And there is this culture in this country, for the wealthy at least, that says you just have to work harder. You're poor because you're not working hard enough, or you're poor because your parents didn't make good decisions, or you're poor because you're stupid and you don't know how to manage money. That is actually a culture in the US. And to me, it's a culture that corporations have normalized. It's a culture that greedy people, selfish people want us to normalize. But it's not based on reality. The reality is that only a few people in this country get to be truly wealthy. All that to say, people in the US today, by and large, are suffering. They are suffering because they spend a majority of their time working and trying to get by, trying to survive, trying to afford the bare basics of life like food, shelter, water, clothing. Okay? I'm talking about millions of people in the US. Not a couple thousand, not a couple 100,000. Millions of people in the US today in 2024 are struggling for their bare basics in life. While there is, in my opinion, excessive wealth concentrated at the top of all these companies, Whole Foods, Amazon, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, they are all pyramid schemes, if you ask me, where a few people at the top get to live excessively wealthy. It's not enough for them to be millionaires, guys. It's never enough for them to be just millionaires. Same with Trader Joe's. It's not enough for the Albrechts who own Trader Joe's in Europe. You know, like people here don't know that Trader Joe's is actually a European company. They use American things to get American customers, but it's actually owned by a European family who are trillionaires. And so my point being, like it's not enough for these people at the top of these companies, of these corporations. It's not enough for them to be millionaires. They want to be billionaires. They want to be trillionaires, while the tens of thousands of workers who make them billionaires and trillionaires suffer and work paycheck to paycheck and are struggling in 2024 for their bare basics in life. And I don't have to be political to say that. I've been working since I was 15. I've been working since I was 15, people. And there were times I had 3 jobs. There were times I had 3 jobs and I was going to school. I was going to college. It's not easy to live in this country. The generations that had it well in the 1980s and the 1990s, they were sold a dream that we, the people alive in 2024, don't get to live. That dream is long gone. But notice how well these corporations are doing, and notice how excessively wealthy they are. Excessively wealthy, like a disgusting level of wealth. And for what? For what? And if they would just share just a little bit, if they would just give back to their workers just a little bit, their workers could feel alleviated. They could feel alive again. They could feel like one job is enough, and they still get to enjoy their families. They still get to enjoy their days off. A lot of people today in the US do not have a day off. And Amazon and Whole Foods are definitely part of that problem. I will play this video.
Over the past couple of years that I've been working at Whole Foods, I've noticed it's only gotten worse.
It's like you're walking around in the corpse of something that used to be.
Squeezing the most out of one person until you can't squeeze no more, and then you do it to the next person.
Whole Foods wants to have a progressive image. They want their customers to think that workers are happy and are treated well.
Our team members are the lifeblood. They're the secret sauce of Whole Foods Market.
Management does not treat us like that. People are surveilled. The rate at which people are at work is pushed to go faster. I think Whole Foods treats us more like robots. than something that they truly care about.
Our goal is not just to help Whole Foods Market as a business. We want to be a positive change in the world.
When you take that mask,
And it's not just Whole Foods, guys. It's also Walmart. It's also every major grocery chain. It's also Trader Joe's. I don't care how much you love Trader Joe's. It's also Trader Joe's. Go talk to a Trader Joe's crew member. You know, Trader Joe's has a turnover rate of 3 years. The average new crew member at Trader Joe's, the average new bottom line employee at Trader Joe's lasts 3 years, because it takes 3 years for them to realize that the amount of work Trader Joe's expects you to do for the pay that Trader Joe's gives you is not worth it.
off. It's just another corporation like all the others. They're no different than an oil company or, a Walmart even.
Being part of Whole Foods Market, investing in team member growth and happiness is one of our key priorities.
I haven't met a team member that hasn't struggled with how much we get paid.
People have to work 2 jobs just to survive.
They expect us to do so much in so little time. I feel like they don't care about our health and well-being, and this is why this union is happening.
Workers at this Amazon-owned Whole Foods in Philadelphia are organizing for a union, and they could be making history.
We would be the only unionized Whole Foods when we win this election, but we cannot be the last, and we definitely won't be the last.
Whole Foods used to be really interesting and eclectic and fun. Things have changed. Honestly, it's because of that corporatization that occurs.
Amazon bought Whole Foods Market in 2017.
For a price that should qualify for free shipping, $13.7 billion.
Now we have this warehouse mentality, just general energy of like, you gotta work, you gotta do what you gotta do, and you gotta do it fast. I see it with my coworkers that do e-shopping. That surveillance is so intense that they can't breathe.
I sometimes work in the e-commerce department. That is the workers who go around the store shopping orders that are put in online. They take items off of the shelf and put it into bags in the cart and then seal up those bags and send it off to whoever ordered it.
However big or small the order is, you do have a certain time frame to finish that order before it's considered late.
Workers say they are surveilled by the second and down to the item.
The order that we get items from the shelf is predetermined.
And some people might be watching this thinking, if you don't like it, quit. Just work for someone else. Yeah, guys, every freaking company is doing this. Every company is doing this. Walmart is doing this. CVS is doing this. Trader Joe's is doing this. Every major retailer, every major grocer, and all the pharmaceutical douchebags, they are all doing it. It's all about productivity. They don't want humans working for them. They just want a workforce. And they don't understand that there are humans who make up that workforce. But they don't care. They just want the workforce to work. And they want the workforce to give them the numbers that they need. Because ultimately, the profits are their baby. Right? It's people before profits, guys. People before profits. So it's not enough to say find a better job anymore when every corporation, every conglomerate in the US and around the world in the Western countries are doing the same thing. They are using and reusing the same formula. Where are people supposed to go when every company is doing the same damn thing? Cracking the whip without giving much back. And the worker at the bottom of that pyramid has to work 3 jobs just to get by.
And by the app that we use to look at the items that are in the order, they call that the pick path. But if a manager sees somebody going out of the pick path, that is at least grounds for a scolding. And I know coworkers who have been disciplined for picking an item that is in that order, just not in the order that is listed on the phone.
Workers say Amazon-style focus on speed has made its way to Whole Foods. Jackie fulfills online orders at Whole Foods. She also works at an Amazon fulfillment center.
It's like the same structure, the speed that we have to go to make sure every order is out, whether it be packages or groceries.
That job is heavily surveilled and the metrics are watched closely.
You just got to keep constantly doing. Like if you think you can even use the bathroom, forget it. It's really awful.
Since I've started.
And again, guys, these are human beings at the bottom of that pyramid. Human beings have to eat. They have to use the restroom. And I've worked jobs like that. I've worked jobs where just using the restroom is a cause for suspicion. You know, like, oh my gosh, you went to the restroom. You're affecting productivity. Like, it's legit, guys. This is why, like, a lot of the greedy companies are going toward AI. They're going toward robotics, increasingly so. That's what they really want. They just want constant, nonstop, round-the-clock profit. It's not a job designed for a human being, a living, breathing human being. It's a job designed for robots. And that's where ultimately a lot of these companies are headed. They're already treating their workers like robots. They don't care that their workers have lives, have needs, have feelings, you know? And as I've said in previous videos, it's an exploitation of the poor as well. That there are people who have no choice but to work for Whole Foods. There are people who have no choice but to work for Trader Joe's or Walmart or McDonald's. They've got no choice because that's the closest place to their house. It's where the public transportation goes. Or they're poor and they can't afford college, or they don't have a family, or they were, their parents abandoned them. Like, I'm telling you guys, these companies exploit the poor because the poor have no choice but to work there. And then when the poor get there, these companies crack the whip.
Started working in that department less than a year ago. The rate, it's called the UPH, which is units per hour, of how many units we take off the shelf per hour, has been raised twice.
It was about 65, which is very reasonable. Everybody can do that. I went up to 80.
Most workers cannot attain that goal every single day.
And then it went up to 100.
I think it demotivates people when there's a rate that we're supposed to work at that is impossible.
I've injured myself. I've gotten hurt personally, just trying to speed at enough pace to just keep my numbers up.
Jackie suffered a concussion after hitting her head on an elevator gate while fulfilling an online order.
And pretty much knocked the wind out of me because the order I had was due within 45 minutes. I was rushed to get it done. Therefore, I hit my head, and my management was like, well, shop one order and see how you're feeling. And if it gets worse, then you can go home. So that, to me, that was the day where I was like, yeah, they don't give two shits. They don't care.
A lot of the times it feels like unfair, and it just feels like we're just telling cashiers to go faster, go faster.
Piper works as a customer service supervisor. She says cashiers are tracked too.
IPM is a metric that basically tracks a cashier on how fast they're bringing out items. Ours is 14 right now, and a cashier has to scan and be in those metrics, or they have a coaching session with us. We think all the time, what is the point of this? Why are we trying to make customers go faster, make our cashiers feel more stressed out? It doesn't align with the values that they tell us that we're supposed to have.
I truly believe the reason why customers keep
and just so you know, guys, with all these companies, Whole Foods Market, Walmart, Trader Joe's, the CEOs don't really give a damn. The CEOs never come into the stores. The CEOs sit in their palaces at the top of the pyramids with their 6-10 figure salaries, just living large. They don't give a damn. They don't ever visit the workers. They don't know their workers. They're so out of touch with their workers. But I wanted to say, like, Walmart does the same thing. Walmart also has items per hour. There are cashiers who pause. They press a button on their register to pause the counter in between customers so that the clock isn't, like, it's crazy, so that they aren't appearing to be slower in between customers. Like some cashiers get obsessed with it because it comes up in their reviews. It comes up when it's time for a raise. You know, oh, you weren't fast enough. We were going to give you 30 cents, but we can only give you 10 cents.
Coming back to us, it's the service, the experience, the passion for our products.
Because most of our cashiers have to reach this metric of going faster, scan.
And that's another point. That's another point too, guys, like, about these companies. Like it's all about the customers. It's not about the workers. And the customers have no idea. Unless they've worked in retail themselves, a lot of the customers have no idea what these workers go through. And you know, these workers smile, they smile at their register, and the customer is none the wiser. The customer is there for their trendy little things and their daily essentials, their daily necessities. But a lot of it is just trendy little things. And, oh, you guys are so happy to work here. It must be such a great company. Like, no, dude, the company forces them to smile. It comes up in their review. They won't get a raise unless they're smiling at you, unless they're approachable for you, unless they're happy. Right? Like, come on, guys. Like, I'm saying the culture in this country is changing because so much has been smoke and mirrors with a lot of these companies, you know, between the companies, the workers, and the customers. A lot has opened up. It's being unveiled. The truth is surfacing. And the culture in this country is changing because workers are getting fed up. And it's about time that customers become conscious of that too. You know, like I said in a previous video, bag your own stuff when you're at a grocery store. If you are able-bodied to bag your own stuff, get off your phone and help the cashier bag your shit.
Scanning things, typing in things faster. A lot of the times the interaction with the customer is just very like short. I know in my experience, a lot of customers come in there just wanting to like chat or Elisa, how are you? How's your day? You know, I think that's kind of lost with Amazon and Whole Foods right now.
And again, you might be thinking, well, it's not like that at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, like, they're always happy. Like, no, it's the same at Trader Joe's. That Trader Joe's might give their cashiers more time to converse with the customer, but it's the same thing. If that cashier is not smiling at you and is not pretending to care about your day, it's going to come up on their review, and they may or may not get a raise because they didn't smile at you enough.
I've been feeling like, you know, they've been taking advantage of us more and more lately.
It's what you see when businesses grow to the size of monopolies. It's all about control. It's all about making as much profit in as little effort in cost as possible.
So I will read just a little more, and I will leave the link in the description below. So, quote, "They expect us to do so much in so little time. I feel like they don't care about our health and well-being," end quote. One worker told More Perfect Union. Quote, "They care about productivity and numbers, you know, just pretty much just get more money in their bank account. And that is why this union is happening," end quote. The living wage for a single person with no children in Philadelphia is $22.29 an hour, and a recent study showed individuals would need to make twice that to live comfortably, yet workers reported making just $16 an hour at this store. Quote, They're bragging in these meetings about how we're making 1.6 million before the weekend, end quote. Another worker told More Perfect Union, quote, that's before the 3 busiest days of the week, and you can't pay people enough to just be able to enjoy their lives. You can't pay people enough to at least be able to take a week off. It's frustrating because you know that money's going somewhere and someone's benefiting from it. It's not the workers, end quote. Really good quote. And it's so true. And as I was saying, if these companies would just give back a little bit to their bottom line, to the people they step on in order to become billionaires and trillionaires, then the people in the bottom wouldn't be suffering so much. There is a normalization of greed occurring in this country as well as other countries. It's a normalization of greed that says, my greed is more important than the quality of life of my workers, even though without my workers, I would not have everything I have. I would not have the empire of a corporation that I have. I would not have this excessively wealthy life that I have, right? It's amazing to me that these institutions, these organizations have normalized excessive wealth. They've normalized excessive greed as if it isn't going to bite them in the ass, as if they can just keep living without caring about the people, the human beings who help them become wealthy, the people in service for their machine, for their company, for their pyramid. So I'm saying the culture is changing. Again, there used to be a sweet spot in this country. And to me, I don't see why we can't go back to that. And the reason we are not back to that, the reason we don't have that sweet spot anymore, the reason a lot of us in the US are not thriving anymore is because of excessive greed. It is the concentration of wealth at the top of all these corporations. Thank you for watching.